What is up, party people? Just kidding. I'm not one of those fake enthusiasm sorts. We are back with this freelance business blueprint. I'm going to quickly run through what the first two lessons covered, and we're going to dive into lesson number 3. So, if you've been around, then you know we have covered your skills, interests, how those overlap and help you point toward your best opportunities. We then talked about how you can package up your services into 3 offerings. You brainstormed some niches or potential market verticals. You applied some criteria too, in fact, to help you choose the ones that will value your skill set the most and most consistently, because lifetime value for freelance clients is a big deal. Then we talked about developing an ideal customer profile in not one niche, but 2, and then flipping some of the little psychographics you came up with, goals, pains, problems, needs, wants, flipping those into messaging that you can use on LinkedIn, on your website, pretty much everywhere. Today, or right now, we're going to go deeper into marketing. And inconveniently, I'm like right here over this really beautiful illustration of a gear. We'll make it work. So, marketing is a big tent, and a lot of freelancers find marketing really intimidating. I would like to simplify it for you. You can think about marketing as simply spreading the word. You can think about marketing as starting new relationships. So don't think that you have to become some sort of uber savvy marketing guru in order to do this well. Really, now that you know who is in your niche, now that you know what their pain points are, you can go out and connect with people who fit that description. You know, the managing partner at a law firm, the founder at a startup, the owner of a barbecue restaurant. Those are 3 examples we've used. You can go connect with people like that and get to know them, let them get to know you. There are a number of different ways to do that. So my number 1 piece of advice when it comes to marketing your freelance business is don't overcommit. Do less, but do less better. Less, but better. So most freelancers, if they don't know any better, will try to do all the things. So when you're excited about freelancing and maybe you first get started, or maybe you really need some clients, and so you're going through this freelance business blueprint because you're feeling a little bit of urgency, maybe desperation, what do? You do all the things. You're suddenly on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. You're blogging. Maybe you're doing YouTube. You're recording videos. You're throwing up a presentation on SlideShare. Don't do all the things. In fact, I've listed out 12 here that all of these can work. And I would recommend that you just pick 1 or 2. Go deep with 1 or 2 of these. Do less, but better. LinkedIn, cold email outreach, introductions from friends and family, social media, lumpy mail. Lumpy mail is sending people a note or a package. Lumpy just means interesting, not just a letter. An unusual type of package is much more likely to get people open it, get a response. Local events, job boards and forums, industry-specific watering holes. By that I mean there might be a trade association, there might be a forum, there might be an event, there might be even like a specific newsletter that you could get into, right? And if you were to offer a workshop, right, you figure out some strategic partner who has access to 25,000 law firms with his email list. And if you then offer like a social media management or Instagram or blogging workshop for lawyers, and then you were able to partner up with the guy who has the email list with 25,000 law firms on it, you can see how that could work really well, right? That would be an example of an industry-specific watering hole. Networking with other freelancers. Over the years, I've gotten a ton of work just from designers and photographers and filmmakers, other people whose clients need what I do from time to time, but I'm not a direct competitor of a filmmaker, of a photographer, of a designer. You get the drift. Content marketing, the remora method. The remora method is, remoras, they sort of ride on sharks. They're those little fish they like suction on and then they ride around. Well, you can go after agencies. Agencies need freelancers a lot. A lot of agencies won't necessarily hire a full-time 3D animator. They won't keep on staff a full-time user experience specialist. So if you can find 12 agencies, all of whom might send you a handful of projects a year, that would be an example of how do you get on board with a bigger company and basically get some of their opportunities just by virtue of being in relationship with them. And then finally, host beneficiary relationships. Let's say there is a bank in your town, or there is an attorney in your town, or there's a financial planner in your town, or maybe like a CPA. That's a good example. There's an accountant in your town, and your accountant specializes in helping law firms, or you find an accountant, doesn't have to be your accountant, obviously, but you find an accountant who specializes in helping law firms. What if that accountant or CPA sent out an email or a letter or all of the above to all of her clients, and this CPA extended some sort of special offer to all of her law firm clients saying, hey, if you're not confident in your website, if you're not confident in Instagram, if you're not confident in your blog, you have got to talk to my friend Jenny. That is what a host beneficiary offer is. Someone hosts your offer, and by hosting your offer, extending your offer to their audience, they make themselves look good because they're creating value to their audience. Like a law firm in the audience would be like, oh, how cool is it that Jeff is connecting me with Jenny, and maybe Jenny can finally get our blog up and going. You get it. Okay, so like I said, biggest thing with marketing is to not overcommit. Do less, but do less better. Number one, pick 3 ways to reach people in your target market. Again, look, I've already got 12 for you. Pick 3 of these. And because it's easier to go ahead and leverage your personal network, I almost always recommend to my freelance students and my coaching clients, go ahead and make sure that all of your friends, family, colleagues, even former employers know that you're available for hire now. So I almost always recommend that as a strategy of choice, particularly for newer freelancers. Do not rest until everyone you already know knows that 1, you're now freelancing, and 2, you're available to hire, and 3, here's what they can hire you for, right? Okay, now number 2 is the big one. It's pretty easy for us to say, yes, marketing is important. I need to market more. It's the consistency that can be really tricky. So number 2, put in 50 to 100 activities into each strategy you pick. So let's say you decide, I'm going to show up on Instagram. Well, 50 to 100 posts, right? 50 days in a row, you're going to post at least once. 50 days in a row, You're going to follow people who might like your content. Maybe 30 to 50% of them will follow you back. That's how you're going to ratchet up your following. 50 days in a row, you're going to, oh gosh, I totally blanked. Engagement, content creation, doesn't matter. 50 days in a row, you're going to show up on Instagram, right? 50 days in a row, you're going to be there. And at the end of 50 days, if you've really given that strategy time to play out, then you can sort of measure the results. So that brings us to number 3. Once you have invested a statistically significant number of activities, you can gauge the effectiveness of a strategy. Lots of us give up too soon. So you commit to email marketing or content marketing, you write 2 blog posts, and then you're like, well, I'm not sure that worked. But maybe you needed, if it was 50 activities, maybe you really needed to commit to publishing a blog post every week for a year before you could truly determine whether or not blogging and content marketing, the marketing piece of content is once you have that new blog post, then you go and promote it everywhere, right? Can you really say that content marketing isn't effective for you if you only put up a blog post every 2 or 3 months? So 3 steps: pick 3 strategies, make sure for each strategy you commit to 50 to 100 activities in each bucket, and then make sure you give yourself adequate time to see whether or not that strategy is going to work for you. You have to put in the time, you have to put in the activities before you have, enough data, enough feedback, a statistically significant amount of time and effort before you make the judgment call about whether to keep going or to pivot it to a new strategy. You have to put in the time, you have to put in the activities. Okay, so I don't think I need to beat a dead horse here. I think I've given you what you need to get started. Now, go get to work. I'll see you in the next lesson.